Hello and welcome to the Getting into Galleries section of the Notion for Artists template. This section is designed to help you prepare for, research and apply to, and manage your existing galleries and future galleries. We start off with the journaling section. This is a worksheet from the Artist Profile Hub. Here we go into questions like, are galleries right for you? Defining your goals, finding the right fit, and several other categories. This is meant to be done once and then returned to over the years as you refine your artistic voice and your goals for a gallery. So take your time, read through, answer which questions connect or resonate with you, and then use that as a reference point to knowing when is a good time for you to apply for galleries, what kind of galleries are you looking for, and what do you offer to them, and what do they offer to you. We also include types of galleries so you can understand and better navigate the complexities of finding galleries online. So I'm going to close this. Any of the gallery goal worksheets that you do, it's one worksheet, but if you do it multiple times, it'll always show up in this view here in Getting into Galleries. Next, we created a Notion form to help you more easily research potential galleries. This works by creating a shared form that you can open in a browser. So I'm going to press Share Form and copy form link. I'm then going to move over to a browser. I'm going to go over to this browser and open it up. This should open the template here. I'll make a new tab, merge it, and then I'll have Google on one side and the gallery form on the other. This way, I can easily keep track of key information about the gallery without having to worry about finding the right line or place in the database. So for this example, I'm going to look up a gallery that one of our friends is currently represented at. So let's look for Bonner David Gallery, and let's do the Phoenix one. So here I would look up the gallery. Okay, that's how it's spelled correctly, Bonner David. Copy it, post it over here. Okay, it seems like we have the address up here in Scottsdale. So far, I don't see an email, but Google is a great source to find some of these key information. Let's go down to phone number here. And let's check out their website to figure out what kind of information I can get about the gallery. So here I'm going to take the website, copy and paste it over to the left. Here it has some issues with the +1, so I'm going to get rid of that. Just to double check social media, sometimes they have it over here, but since I'm not seeing that, I'm going to skip it for now. Actually, I just noticed it's here in the Google search. So I'm going to go back to the website with this tab and the social media here. Their handle is Bonner David Galleries. That's Insta. This can be helpful to see, key information and dive deeper into research about them. So, is there any contact person? So let's look at the gallery. Let's see, contact. Is there a contact person or is it a form? So we have an email. That's great. So we can use that to contact them later. I see some important notes about when they're open. I can put that into the notes section. And what else? It was made by Christy Donner, Manuelito, and Clark David Olson in 2002. So my guess is potentially them, and then I'll keep moving through. Here we can look at some stuff about and go deeper, but I would like to save that for the the next stage. So for now, I think that's enough information to start, and I'm going to press Submit. This has now moved over to the Notion database. If I want to keep looking for galleries, I can refresh this page with the Notion form, and it makes a new entry, and I can look for other galleries. But for now, I'm going to pause and go back to Notion. Now that we are back in Notion, let's go to the submission Bonner David Gallery. I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to scroll and click on the gallery name template. This will be helpful as it has specific action steps for us to go through to get, to work towards being represented by this gallery. So I'm going to click that template, and I'm going to wait a second, as it will take a second to load all of the content onto the page. To make it easier, I'm going to make it larger. So here we have a little bit of a summary, so some important notes we can have, and then the big powerhouse of this template are the action steps. We have kind of 5 big stages that we think about when we think about connecting with a gallery. We have the research phase, which we had just started. We found some initial information that you can find stored up top. So we have their address, contact person, email, and other key information stored up here in properties. And then there's other research that I'll show you shortly. The other milestones we have are getting ready for the application, then nurturing the relationship, so that sometimes, it takes a while to get representation with a gallery. So you want to make sure you're in contact and you're nurturing that relationship. Then we have information and help on contracts and logistics, and then tips on how to keep feeding your gallery or sending them art. So I'm going to click on the research milestone and open it all the way. This is a guide for all the different kind of information about the gallery that could help you better curate your application. Remember, each artist has their own approach and strength and expertise. We offer a variety of questions that could get you super prepared to contact with them, but that's not always necessary. Sometimes it's as easy as knowing who they are, going in person, and talking with them. Other times you want to have a better understanding of who they are so you can understand how they benefit you and also how you can benefit them. So that means when you have that conversation, you know if you're a good fit, and it can help make the process go faster or be more effective. So the questions we have put here are not mandatory, but are different types of information that you can store and use to help better prepare yourself when you reach out to the gallery. I like to go in a split screen form so I can better collect some of this information and fill out some of this research. So we already know this is Bonner David. Let's see if we can figure out a little bit about, their mission or focus. So this gallery, best traditional. So they focus on. So types of art is traditional and non-representational artists from around the globe. So traditional and non-representational artists from around the world. It's important to note is as you do this research, you might find out, hey, I don't think this describes me. If you do very representational work, you may or may not be a good fit. That's where you want to look at some more other artists or other pieces. So they want to create an unintimidated environment for everyone. Confidential recommendations. We understand the importance of variety, uniqueness, and personalization. So that's important. They value the skills, importance of variety, uniqueness, and personalization. And you can find some of these, notes and information from going through their website. So let's keep going. We see some different art here that we really like. Oh, this looks like them. Oh, we get to understand some of the relationship, these people. What services do they offer? They educate collectors about fine art, personalized service. They have 20 years. Okay. So far, I have not seen if they've participated in art fairs. We're still figuring out the type of gallery. But one of the interesting things we can note is they said, I believe, the number of artists. Let me scroll back up. Up here, they have over 50. So right now they have 50 artists. So that's a lot of artists. So that gives me some understanding if they have more or less attention to work with me. Then let's look at Okay, so we have exhibitions. There's opportunities for shows. So it looks like there's solo shows, yes. So they can do solo shows. They do art weeks or fairs, so it's really good. So the questions here allow you to collect some of the information so that way you understand, who are they? Who am I going to work with? Galleries are longer and very important relationships for artists. So understanding things like, do they offer you solo shows? How many artists they have? What kind of structure or key factors do they have? Their relationship, their perspective can really help inform you in, is this a good fit? But it also allows you to be a good business partner. If you are able to show up and say, I understand you, I understand what you're about, and we align in this way, it makes you a much more compelling artist to work with because it shows you're organized, you're competent in what you do, and you're able to work with them to help them achieve their goals of building a collector base and help your goals of growing as an artist. So returning back to this main page, since we started the research, I'm going to move it over to in progress. When you feel like you've done enough research, you can move it over to done. Next, we'll work on the application phase. This section is built to kind of solidify and organize different things you might need for an application. Sometimes they have a lot of information on their website, sometimes they don't. This is where you can take any notes you saw from researching them. You can pull out your CV. Remember, we had a space for you to curate your own artist CV, so you can have a master version of your CV as a template, populate it here, and then edit it down to best fit the shows and experience the gallery is looking for. You can pull out previous artist statements you wrote, and on occasion, you can pull out cover letters and inquiry emails, because sometimes the hardest part is that first contact. So we made templates for you to write a first cover letter to them saying, hello, this is who I am, or follow-up emails once you have tried reaching out to them. This way, it can help you take those first important steps to building that relationship with a gallery. Next, we have nurturing, where here's different tips and tricks of how you can connect and relate and work with these galleries to help build out your relationship. A lot of times we think of opportunities as singular events. We think of a gallery as, I reach out to them or I go to a show and, they decide if we're a good fit or not. And a lot of times it's relationships. The art world and a successful art career is built in shared relationships. So what we want to do here is give you tips of when and how to reach out and talk to a gallery. Once you have worked on that, we can go to contracts and logistics. A lot of times, art galleries will already have contracts, and that's a really good sign. Sometimes they may not. So it's good to give you an example of a contract that you can adapt with a lawyer to use, or use to better understand the things that a contract looks for. Remember, this contract is not recommended to use without first consulting with a lawyer. This is an example, and we do not take any responsibility for the use of this contract. It is for an educational starting point so that you can be better prepared going into working with a gallery, either through your knowledge or through a beginning stage of a contract that you can work with to build an effective partnership. So we have an example contract up here, and then an overview of how to write each section and what to look for. Finally, we have feeding your gallery, which is reminders about how to understand the needs and pace yourself as an artist to create the work your gallery needs. Once you're done, you can go back to getting into galleries and go to the third section. This first view is all the galleries that you are a part of. Next, we have the ones that are in progress. So if you've researched, if you've applied, you can get an overview if you've been accepted, if you've been declined, if you're going to follow up in the future, and kind of understand where you're at with galleries. Use this to help you stay on top of new and prospective galleries. So I hope this helps you understand and get into the galleries you're looking for. Thank you.